Hello everybody, welcome to Markiplier. My name is YouTube and it's time to slather ourselves in butter. Oh my god, 2 FNAF videos in a row! 2026 is shaping up to be crazy, y'all. Really spoiling you. Cause I love ya. And I love ya so much I completely disregarded previous FNAF fan game suggestions to go and dig in the garbage behind the local Fazbears cause I thought it would be funny. I feel like I've started every video recently with the whole, "Hey Dusky, what about upcoming video topic mentioned in the previous video you said you were gonna do next?" Wasn't it a FNAF fan game this time? What happened to that? Well, I started it up, died twice on night 1, and very quickly realized I was not gonna enjoy that gameplay loop. So in my moment of weakness, I went crawling back to my ex, aka the FNAF category on Gamejolt, sorted by newest. I really apologize for passing up such gems as Them Times at Franklin's, the least obvious virus ever, and... No! You're supposed to obey me! But if you can forgive me, I found some stuff with a lot of potential. So get ready for another Here's 3 Games video.
Hi guys! I'm back from my regularly scheduled near-death scenario. This time, it looks like you need to subscribe to save me from Golden Freddy, who has a scooping machine, and... Whoa, I don't think we want to draw that. Wait, Danny DeVito? We can't afford Danny DeVito!
I'd agree with you if it weren't for this video's sponsor. This video is sponsored, wow, by Tuck and Roll. Never heard of it. With 359 pages available so far, Tuck and Roll is an early 2000s inspired webcomic starring Tucker Klaus and Rolla, I don't know how to say that,
Desserts.
as they and their friends navigate teenage life in the authoritarian city of BD. The series will be receiving a physical release and remaster very soon, with an exclusive side story included alongside new character stills and over 190 pages of improved artwork. Pre-orders are open until February 17th, so if government conspiracies are up your alley, why don't you check it out? Thanks, Tuck and Roll, for the sponsor, and best of luck with your launch.
Alright, so you got your first ad read out of the way. Can we afford Danny DeVito now?
Of course not! We got a character AI bot instead. Well, have fun, you two!
So are you gonna start, like, eating garbage or...
As an AI language model, I cannot condone the consumption of garbage or other discarded products for which edibility can no longer be safely confirmed.
Can we just go to the video now?
Given our current wintry climate, if you're on my side of the equator anyway, starting with a game about Arctic animal animatronics is just perfect, right? A week at Polar's Buffet. This game was released on October 24th of last year and was developed by Marcelo G. Toons. In it, you play as a girl named Veronica, defending your office from a cast of frigid furries at an animatronic buffet owned by your father. I'm a big fan of its presentation. You're in a 3D environment, but everything around you is depicted in a similar style to Minecraft, with characters represented with 2D sprites, sort of like if Playtime with Percy went a bit further with its use of 3D. Although where I feel like this falters is the lack of 2D animation. When certain characters leave, the way they just pop out of existence is a tad jarring. You have a lot of freedom with your camera, and basically every menu, you can look all around you, and even underneath yourself in the office as you spin around in your chair. You can even look around in the game over screens. That being said, a lot of this office environment goes unused within the gameplay loop. When I cleared night 1, I got a sort of sinking feeling that it was going to get pretty stale pretty quickly with how few entry points there were, and unfortunately I was proven right. So my animatronic overview is going to sound a bit negative, but I promise I'm just trying to be helpful. So every animatronic can use either the window, door, or the vent behind you. No one is ever gonna be in this door closet or this locker. You can't see most of them normally if you don't pick up the flashlight to your left and turn it on. But the catch is, you can't close the door while holding it, so you have to quickly turn and put it down before grabbing the door lever. I liked that extra requirement. 2 animatronics only require the flashlight to be aimed at them. Puffy the Puffin in your vent and Hazy the Reindeer in your window. You're supposed to aim it at their eyes as emphasized by the phone guy, Lewis, but after multiple bouts of them taking forever to leave, or just straight up not leaving when blinded, I figured out you kinda have to aim the reticle a little bit under their eyes, on the bridge of their nose. Except that just raises your success rate to about 90%, and sometimes they'll stay for so long that someone else spawns who needs the light, and then it starts bugging out because the flashlight has such a large range it can hit them both at once. Therefore meaning no one gets their fill of blindness and one of them eventually gets in, despite you doing all you can to try to just focus on one at once. Barry Polar in my vent here decided to never leave one time, and then he got straight up deleted by the special Night 7 animatronic that considered this a good time to begin a boss fight with me. Moving off the vents though, you've also got the door, which sort of connects to your window in the sense that any animatronic on its way to your door will pass by here first. Wally the Walrus takes a stroll on by and will then show up to spout off quips to alert you to his presence.
Hey, you lost!
Barry can do the same. He's the trick guy who does both doors and vents, but he doesn't speak when at the door, making him trickier. Except every time he got in this way, Puffy stole his kill. The door and vent are the only ways the animatronics can enter, which got old by night 3, especially since on that night, Lewis mentions he finally figured out how to schedule the animatronics, meaning he figured out how to deactivate them on certain nights, which honestly only ever happened to Wally from what I could tell, aka completely removing the door from the gameplay loop most of the time. Now I know that Barry can use the door, but this is leading into another issue with the game. The AI balance. The animatronics can either give you the easiest time of your life or decide you get 0.5 seconds to act before they jump. Barry heavily favors that vent, so much that he only showed up at the door twice in an hour of gameplay, so I never really learned to deal with it properly. Lewis also mentions mechanics I feel like I never even saw. For example, Barry allegedly liking to stay out of view. He shows up visually just like everybody else. And then there is the prototype endoskeleton that can get out of the back room and show up on a camera that you must find in order to send it home. That never happened either. Well, it did one time, but it was so casual I didn't even process that I'd done something. Cause it was just chilling on the stage and I was watching that already, so I thought it was just an extra thing for creepiness. One final snag became most obvious on the Night 7 boss fight. At this point, the animatronics are so aggressive that the tell for them showing up or leaving, which is a flicker of the light, starts making it nigh impossible to tell if someone has left or if that actually meant someone else spawned. Definitely need some different cues. I feel like I made it sound so bad though. The game really isn't that bad, just a bit too dependent on RNG for it to be so finicky. I enjoyed the original soundtrack, which is always a plus for fan games. Gus's boss theme kinda slaps. It's playing right now, by the way. The animatronics designs are great and work well with the art style even if they aren't that scary. But let's be honest, that's rarely the goal these days. And the cutscenes tell a simple but interesting story, complete with voice work that actually sounds pretty natural.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll see you then. Sorry, I'll see you then.
Maybe except for Jonathan, who could be a little less...
The restaurant. We got a big show tomorrow, and I just want to make sure everything's alright there.
mumbly. Lewis Moore, the phone guy, is the son of the buffet owner, Jonathan. He works the night shift, but it's completely taken over his life, taking him away from his friends and forcing him to hide unsavory company secrets. Upon finding out his father had another son that went missing at Freddy's while he was busy making business connections, Lewis confronts his father and requests to be transferred off of the night shift. Unfortunately, this means his father will just put his younger sister, Veronica, aka you, in that position. To Lewis's horror, of course. When Lewis heads back to the buffet in dismay, he promptly goes missing and is later confirmed to be dead. However, Veronica holds suspicion that the claims of how he died are not true. It is implied that rather than what the news says, the animatronic you fight off in the latter hours of Night 7, Gus the Pug, may have been responsible. All of these cutscenes have a charming presentation, looking like Scott's old minigames were placed in a 3D environment. It reminds me of older pixelated horror you'd see the big guys play in the mid-2010s. Stuff like I'm Scared and Calm Time. Been wondering if I should make a video on forgotten pixelated horror like that. Then on a minor note, I enjoyed the unique addition of a hue shift depending on the night. Like, the office sort of changes colors. Apparently it also does this in the custom night too, except there it picks a random one. The main menu changes as well. As you progress, things change in the environment, whether that be the hue of the sky or cars driving by. I'd love if more fan games did stuff like this, like how Animatronic Memories changes which character is on the menu every night. That's all I have for Polars for now, though. I imagine this game will be receiving updates or future installments judging by the creator's activity on the page, so I hope to see... What do you mean, VR? Alright, so originally that would have just ended with me showing a little bit of me playing in VR and then we would have gone to the next game. But I need to talk about how it went, because in short, please do not add VR to your game if you aren't able to playtest it. Seriously, I can tell! Setup was pretty easy. It launched fine via Steam VR on my MetaQuest 3S, but when you're actually in the game, all, and I mean all, of the environments are too big. In the office, you have to move across your physical space to reach your defense mechanisms, like the flashlight or the lever. Also, the subtitles are broken. The lever is especially bad because you gotta reach out and pull it, which is cool, but hard to do quickly if you don't have a large enough area to play in. Although if the lever was easier to reach, this would make playing in VR easier than flat mode, because you don't have to actively put the flashlight back to use the door. You can just let go of it and it'll teleport back into place. With that realization, I decided to try the Night 7 boss again to see if I could beat it in VR instead. I did, but not how it was intended. What actually happened was Puffy got me pretty quickly, but the game never ended. So I was just messing with audio to get my commentary about that to record. Anyone? I think I broke it. This is the game now. Oh, before I noticed the boss theme had started playing. Then I waited to see if that meant the night timer was still going. And it was. So I get to see the post-game unlocks after all. Yay! I go into the extras, and I'm in the middle of an incredibly large room. There is no way to move, and every single button is way too far away to reach even if I walk the entire length of my bedroom. Well, I tried. I guess I'll just let Gus close this one off.
3 months a week follow this buffet.
Now time for something in a completely different style. We have a bit of an interesting case here. FNAF Showtime, created by Grum000, has gotten some, well, showtime on YouTube and elsewhere, but it still doesn't seem to be pulling the numbers I would have expected for how quality it is. Is it the name? It might be the name. It's a bit on the generic side, and I don't mean that to be rude, especially since the movie coined that Showtime button. Or maybe I'm just on a conspiracy theorist rant. Regardless, it got attention at its release, and now it kinda doesn't. Which is unfortunate because it's actually receiving content updates still, which add entirely new animatronics and challenges. For example, the mediocre melodies were added as challenge characters only 2 weeks ago as I write this. FNAF Showtime is more or less FNAF in real time if the animatronics were saggy and old. We begin in a free roam environment and are permitted to explore the location we're going to be guarding before we actually start our shift. You can examine everything in here up and down. No eating plastic items. Oh, well, thankfully this is 100% cotton. You can even examine the animatronics, who are just awful. Just look at that cupcake, rancid little creature. I would never go here, and if I were them, I wouldn't use these freaks of nature on any promotional material. Just stick to some friendly-looking 2D. Oh, that's just as bad! I guess it's a testament to how good, bad, whatever you want to call it, the quality of these designs when they're freaking me out so much before they even start moving. Although they might have difficulty with that considering their incredibly tiny ankles. Besides them, the place has cool references literally everywhere. In just the arcade, you've got Midnight Motorist from Pizza Sim, Princess Quest from Security Breach, Freddy's Fazballs, Scott's older game There Is No Pause Button, oh man, and who could forget Doofus? Oh, wow, I was just making a joke, I never even heard of this. That's a deep cut. Before I get into the night gameplay, I want to say I really like the backstories they gave the characters in the party rooms. The posters on the wall talk about how Foxy used to be a stealing pirate before Freddy taught him the joy of sharing, how Chica's quest for a food she liked led her to the pizzeria, how Bonnie found somewhere that appreciated him for his loud personality, and how Freddy's desire to sing led him to helping save the building from closure in the first place. But enough of all that sappy stuff. It's time to go become the secret pizza sauce ingredient. The office is in the middle of the building, and the computer there lets you choose any night you have unlocked, alongside displaying your rank per night. This interface is going to be 90% of your gameplay. I mean that, you cannot exit it like a normal cam system. I actually really like how this controls. Gone are the days of clicking through cameras. While the option remains, you can use the left side of your keyboard or your number keys to snap to whichever you want. I forgot to mention that Polars also did this. More of this, please, it's so much better. You're also able to move the camera around with your mouse and zoom in with your scroll wheel. That assists with your main defense against the animatronics. This game technically has just one mechanic, your reset laser thing. Basically, if you point and hold it on an animatronic's eyes, they'll reset, giving up whatever they were doing and marching on back to where they came from. The main problems are Bonnie and Chica to start, who can be told apart by their footsteps, with Bonnie's being faster. They won't beeline to your office, instead choosing to wander around for a while, but let them do that too long and they will come knocking. It is a bit tricky to reset them while they're moving though, even when zoomed in. So eventually I figured out a decent strategy for catching them early. All cameras are always active, meaning it's not like usual with only one showing you footage at a time. I realized the animatronics don't come off the stage, they come out of these staff doors. So as quickly as I could on starting a night, I'd get all the cameras turned towards the closest staff door, and that let me see the bots as soon as they came out, so I could grab them before they left the room and got harder to catch. The only room where this didn't work well was Pirate's Cove. There is a staff door in there, but Foxy demands the camera face him at all times. When he activates on night 2, he'll start standing up straighter over time, and when he assumes his final pose, he's seconds away from charging off the stage straight to your office. To prevent that, you have to reset him as many times as it takes to get him back down again. So you can't really focus on the door, but the zoom feature really does come in handy here. Starting on night 3, the building will experience periodic blackouts. The phone guy says this is to conserve power, since the electric bill has been getting high. You know, you could just turn off a few things after hours instead. Surely these decorative lights don't need to be on all night. As it is, blackouts don't affect you much on night 3 besides making it a bit harder to see the bots moving. This is just to get you used to the mechanic in preparation for night 4, where we start seeing Freddy. He saw the uninteresting Freddys I've faced in the past and said, "Hold my soda-roni." He only moves during blackouts. When one begins, you'll likely hear his signature laugh and music box tune as he quickly marches out of any staff door with a one-way ticket right to your office. Let him out of that room and it's pretty much over. He's the drop everything guy and he'll have you praying for the blackout to end. I was stuck on night 4 for a while, but with a little research I discovered there's a saving grace in every night except 1 and 6. These cupcakes hidden in random rooms. If you find and reset these cupcakes, it will boost your score and speed up the time, making the night end sooner. Oh yeah, speaking of score, I'm not sure it actually serves a purpose besides making a funny sound when you get an F. And I'm not all that sure what even affects it either, since death count doesn't appear to. I think it's focusing on how long it took you to reset each animatronic after they left a door, and how many times you lost focus on them while doing it. So anyway, having trouble with the blackouts? Tough. This is a practice night for night 5, when you're out of power for the entire night. But I bring this specific night up because it's actually kinda lying here. At least if you're expecting constant Freddy activity. He only seems to get aggressive twice, indicated by the Toreador March starting up and stopping at 1 and 5 a.m. However, he can still activate outside of those times, it's just less likely. Not saying that he should have been playing musical doors the entire night. I think it would have been too much of a spike in difficulty for what's technically the halfway point of the game. Once you've powered through, there's a complete lack of fanfare. You've unlocked your custom night and the real-time night that seems to be obligatory for fan games now, but you are expected to take on the challenge of nights 6 through 10 if you want to see more. Don't worry, blackouts are back to being periodical. Originally, the game did end at night 5, but content updates like this are refreshing to see for a fan game, even if they don't end up getting as much traction since Let's Players often rarely revisit fan games. Night 6 is actually not as bad as I expected. You're immediately told that an employee has scattered spare cupcake animatronics around the restaurant, and you're responsible for resetting and returning them all. Do that and your night ends. I guess you could see this as a blessing since you're not on a time limit, or a curse, since the other characters are still active during this, barring Freddy, I think, so you're basically doing overtime. Of course, on starting the night, there was a very obvious and familiar noise coming from the vents.
If you find any during
But nothing actually comes of it yet. You start night 7 and you realize that the enragement child has also decided to join the party. But without a flashlight to take, what does he do? Takes the next best thing, your cameras. When he laughs, several cameras will go down. You have to find him and hit him with the old reset. The gimmick with these later nights is that they're there to let you unlock these new characters in your custom night. As you beat each one, they're added to the lineup, like with Balloon Man over here. It's sort of like how the main cast gets added during the first 5 nights, before they all group up at their hardest. Night 8 introduces Mangle, after it's been blaring noise the past 2 nights. Mangle behaves the same as the others, but instead of walking around, it sticks to the ceilings and can emerge from any vent. It's quite violent about it too, just busting the cover off and making a break for it. Besides the radio sounds, its loud metal footsteps should clue you in on where it is. I will be honest though, it looks a bit silly phasing through door frames. Night 9 introduces everybody's favorite enemy, the puppet. Go on and take a wild guess on what you have to do for her. Music box! I guess if you're gonna add the puppet, do it in a way where the player only has to put up with the box for 2 nights, huh? Allegedly, the box is there because the puppet is malfunctioning and will always look for audio stimuli. The box cannot be heard if you aren't directly watching the prize counter or a room near it, and it can be wound by the camera in the same way you'd reset an animatronic. As it decreases, the sound becomes lower pitched and warped, and it decreases pretty fast. If you fail to keep up with it, the obvious happens, with the puppet flying out of the staff door nearby. And no, you can't reset it when it does. You can't even see it fly towards you in your office camera. Night 10 is about the same story as Night 5, except now there are 7 threats instead of 4. You know the drill by now, except it at least isn't a full blackout this time. Clearing all nights nets you a neat golden statue on your desk. But I'm really interested in the mediocre melodies, who I mentioned earlier were added with the most recent update as post-Night 10 unlocks. Minor sidetrack, but these guys look really good. A group that claims to be average manages to have, in my opinion, better designs than the main cast, Mr. Hippo especially. So, a minor issue I had with this game was its repetition. It can get a little boring doing the same thing for most of the characters. Aim at the eyes, reset, repeat. I didn't feel like there were enough challenging mechanics. BB is the only really urgent one because you can't afford to leave those cameras disabled or you risk missing a character spawn. But, from what I could tell on the game page, the melodies shake stuff up a bit. I think Mr. Hippo slows down time while active, Orville can go invisible, Nedbear can... No, please, no more. I could not for the life of me find any footage of these guys in action since I did not have the time to devote to getting past Night 10. Blame me having to find... employment. So unfortunately we won't be able to contend with them personally. At least that's what I would say if my goat Ruffles, aka my second channel editor, did not pull through and unlock them for me. So get ready for what might be the first footage of the FNAF Showtime mediocre melodies. Yay! And to be clear, most of the footage for this game past Night 3 is from Ruffles. I don't want to take credit for it. These guys star in their own personal Melody Nights section of the menu, which functions like another 5-night progression, each night adding one more melody to the mix. To avoid this game really hogging the runtime, let's go a little quicker with this. Orville is indeed invisible, but only on the focused camera. He is visible on the smaller panel to the left, so you have to use that to aim instead. On Night 2, Happy Frog will appear and block your camera panel, requiring you to use the keyboard controls to search for and get rid of her. Night 3 brings in Pig Patch, who plays very loud banjo music to prevent you from hearing anything else! Nedbear swaps cameras on Night 4, laughing like a bootleg Freddy, which I suppose he is. Resetting him, however, does not return them to normal. Finally, Mr. Hippo is placed in the lobby on Night 5, activating occasionally to tell a story, which slows the night timer down. Can't believe it took this long for this camera to serve a purpose. Night 5, or technically 15, is asking you to keep track of 12 whole characters. But as I've been told, when you do manage to keep track of everything, it's a great challenge and rewarding when you succeed. Well, after that, I just want to wrap up with some of what I liked and didn't like about this game. Pros are definitely the sound, environment, and character design. The models are great with convincing movements, and everything sounds like you would imagine it to. No more oddly soft footsteps supposedly coming from hulking metal robots in this FNAF game. Bonus points for how the sounds are shared between cameras, and for how you can hear footsteps to your left or right when a character is passing by your office. The game is also pretty challenging, but feels fair for the most part. However, I think the reset mechanic can be tedious, sometimes even boring, and the lack of visual rewards for completing objectives makes them feel a little less intriguing to go after. These rewards could have taken place within the free roam version of the building, since it doesn't really serve any purpose, and is honestly pointless to include in the main game loop. All you're usually gonna be doing there is walking to the computer. You do unlock a gallery for viewing models after Night 5, but it doesn't really tell you that and hides it off in the arcade, where I didn't even know it was there for a while. I think it may have worked better if either the explorable building was kept as a reward for beating the first 5 nights, or the animatronics could perform for you after you hit the halfway and ending points, sort of like they were supposed to in Help Wanted. Plus, where are the newbies on this map? I want to see BB, Mangle, the puppet, those guys at least. It would be fun to be able to walk up to them. Lastly, I'm not sure the character count needs to be pushed further than 12. Adding the melodies to the already instated 7 characters resulted in some of them just being different kinds of BB, as Ruffles puts it. And I see his point. If they were any more of a problem to deal with, they'd be unfair to couple with the main cast, so their gimmicks are just that they are doing something annoying to you. I think any future additions, if any happen, shouldn't try to work with literally everyone else active alongside them. Overall though, great showing. This is a really unique take on the formula, and I encourage you guys to try it for yourself. It's definitely harder than it looks.
Dancing, walking, rearranging furniture.
It's back to 2D with this one. Here we have How to Crab Final Edition. I mean, the name alone caught my attention. Come on, I love crabs. Maybe except for when they are really close to me and they start looking like spiders, but anyway, this is a FNAF game with crabs. Developed by Povanil Studios and released about 3 months ago, this is the quote-unquote final edition because it had a previous edition that looked like this and apparently wasn't good. But this one is good, apparently. The premise is pretty ridiculous, but in a good way. Basically, you're an intern at a marine research company that's partnering with a plushie company who claims to be working on a secret project involving 4 crab monsters. You're supposed to protect its central experiment.
With all due respect, sir, I failed to see Squish Tech providing us with any research that would be of value. I mean, you're a stuffed animal company. What could you possibly have that we'd buy?
Oh, trust me, Doctor, you're gonna want to see what we've been working on. Any bigwigs like you would do anything to get their hands on our research. If you're not gonna give us the time of day, we'll just go public, and when you come crawling back to us, you'll be taken under by the waves and waves of offers from other companies willing to pay billions to have their name on it. All you have to do is send someone, anyone, out to our facility in about a week. It can be an intern for all I care. All that matters is that their mind is going to be blown.
We'll consider it.
Why is a plush company making evil crabs? Well, I guess we can just let the Squish Tech CEO explain that one in an extremely professional promotional video.
Greetings, I'm Oliver Stanton, and welcome to Squish Tech! You may know us as modern America's favorite stuffed toy company, where we believe that no animal should go without its own plush. After the overwhelming success that Lillian the Golden Panda brought us thanks to viral social media marketing, we simply didn't know what to do with all the money we had made. And that's when I realized I could finally do what I've always wanted to do with my life. Explore the parts of our world yet to be seen by mankind, the deep ocean! With less than a quarter of it having been explored by humans, it was only a matter of time before we'd discover numerous undocumented creatures of the deep, and make new stuffed animals of them in the process. But none of us could have predicted just how big of a discovery we'd end up making. In the time since we've started the Squish Tech Marine Exploration Project, we have found and taken in 4 extremely strange creatures that have our sea life experts scratching their heads. We have deemed these crustaceous behemoths crabanoids, and very soon you'll get to see them for yourself.
I'm a big fan of how Oliver puts a picture of himself up on screen when he doesn't have a dedicated visual. I should start doing that. As Oliver explained, they need somebody to watch over their own crab monster invention thing while the 4 other crab monsters they got from somewhere try to get to us and it. As the game progresses, more monsters actually arrive at the facility, so to begin with, we are only dealing with 1. If you miss the explanation of how your enemies work from the phone calls, or if you just forget, there is always a notebook on the table that will remind you, which is a great addition. What I also really enjoy about this game is that it gives you a lot of different ways to use your defensive tools. As you can see, you can use your mouse with everything, clicking to open cameras, turning on lights, viewing the guide, etc. However, you can also use dedicated keys for those things and play two-handed, making it easier to do quick motions. Shift will open your cameras, space will turn on or flash the light, and control will open the guide. I do wish the game would not have put lights on the spacebar. That had me pressing it a lot by accident, because I tend to associate that button with the cameras. The same thing happened when I was playing a fan game on stream that had the spacebar turn you around, but at least that doesn't tend to get you killed. He's just a little slug dude. Keep thinking space is cameras, not S. And it's kinda bad if you hit the lights by accident because they spend power. You can easily end your night if you do it too many times. You'll notice you have no doors to defend you, and your routine will depend heavily on the cameras and the tools within them. However, you can't just spend all night in there, however tempting it may be. Time will flow a lot slower when you're looking at them, so you must make an effort to spend time outside of them, but not too much time, lest the crabs get zippy. It becomes a balancing act that's pretty easy to screw up on later nights. But for now, the quote-unquote crabanoid we face first is King. You've gotta prevent his entry when he appears at the door with a flashbang, but he's also important to watch, because sometimes he'll get too close to a camera, and that's when you need to blind him with it so he steps back. Otherwise he'll break it and take a chunk of power. I noticed that in rooms with multiple phases, aka points at which the guy can stand at, King can either be passing by the camera after his initial phase, or choose to stare into it, which is the choice you need to act on. But if he decides to just pass by, I don't think he can back up to look at you, so that was the point when I stopped worrying about where he was until he showed up at the door. Strats like that kinda help you maximize the time spent outside the cameras. Your other problems never appear at the door and are handled entirely within the cameras. We get this other dude, Spider, next, who you really gotta keep an eye on. He is always thinking of moving, and when he starts vibrating like this, blinding him makes him forget to do it. If you don't catch him, he'll gradually get closer to you, moving to cam 4, then twice through cam 7 before he gets in, making loud running sounds every time he moves. I consider it easiest to let him get to cam 4 if you can't keep him in cam 1, cause then you can watch both him and King at the same time if King is there, and King really likes going in there. The other two guys aren't too crazy if you understand them. One of them is introduced alongside Spider. Its name is Blue, and it is apparently a crabanoid enhanced with prosthetics. You're told that if it gets out of its room, you have to use the overdrive function in that room to return it there. I misunderstood this. Everything implies that it's really bad if it gets out. You hear this charge-up noise outside the cameras, and inside them stuff is flashing red and it's all staticky, so of course my first instinct is to immediately send it back. But I just keep dying to this thing, and it seems like you don't have enough power to use overdrive as many times as it keeps leaving. Turns out, Phone Guy was saying it wants to go on a cycle through the building, and the camera freakouts are interference, meaning you should not be looking at it or it'll start affecting your power. It'll pay you a visit along the way, and it's of no concern. You are supposed to just let it go until it gets to cam 3, I believe, then prevent it from messing with the breaker by sending it back. There is only one other guy after this, and he just adds another camera to check. Yeti is chill. And stays in his freezer. Sometimes he gets bored and tries to climb into the ducts, and turning on the heater makes him back off. Although he does have some trick locations that might fool you if you don't know where the ducts are yet. When he stands at the door to look out of his window, it sort of looks like that could be a problem. I think he is my favorite just because of the faces he makes. He just wants something to do. Give him a Wii or something, I don't know. You've come to know your crab compatriots now. What's next? The incubation process for the crabanoid behind you is almost complete. Completing at 2 a.m. on night 5.
Attention! CH-05 incubation process has been completed. CH-05 will now be transported to its temporary holding tank. In the event that CH-05's transportation causes any major water leaks in the facility, the office's emergency doors will activate immediately to protect you from flooding. Please refrain from using the secondary power generator by any means necessary if this occurs, as it may produce electric currents in the water that could severely harm the crabanoids. Thank you.
And it's out! Accompanied by another great boss theme. Very crab-like music. If that is a valid descriptor. If you allow coconuts, yes, that's its name, to break your doors or completely deplete the power, the office floods, bringing your demise. The rest of the facility is already flooded, leaving you to track the experiment through clouded lenses as it darts between cameras, blinding it before it can break any, which, like King, takes power. During this, you have to reboot the generator by continuing to view its camera. Yet, one other crab sticks around to make it harder. A crab statue can appear as a red herring, resulting in a look away if you're sensitive to flashing strobe jump scare, which should absolutely not be in the game and is the main reason I put a flash warning on this whole video. It's harsh even for me, someone without epilepsy. But as the generator restarts, the game abruptly ends, with someone, your character maybe, contemplating whatever happened to them. The darkness surrounding me drove me insane. Adrenaline numbed all senses. Only my thoughts remained. Their greatest creation, destroyed by my hands. The next giant leap in the evolution of man. But despite it all, tranquility took hold. Lifted from my shoulders the weight of the world. And it felt as though, even if rescue never came, everything was as it should. Everything would be okay.
ancient race created that statue, they knew. They knew that this is what we were destined to become. Mankind has known of carcinization phenomena for over a century now. The signs were always there. And we had it. We had them. We'd seen the results with our own eyes, but now it's all gone. And nobody will ever know how to crab.
They said it! They said the thing! I don't know, I guess they turned into a crab. Why is Mothra in the voice acting credits with I Show Speed? Now this isn't the end! But before we get into the challenges, we must check your retention of knowledge. I hereby summon my cat again.
How can you make money with such a stupid idea?
Hey, what? Why are you here? And why are you judging? Oh wait, you're a challenge character, aren't you? I'll ignore the fact you interrupted her quiz and get on with these challenges, since it seems they're getting impatient. That's right, you can't have a crab game where you don't have to face off with the Eugene Krabs himself in the Eugene Challenge, in which you must make 10 Krabby Patties before 6 a.m., cooking them up in your office while fending off the other threats. You can retrieve uncooked patties from the freezer camera. Failure to make a proper burger will result in instant termination. Don't forget your pickles. I know this is a joke challenge, but the way it forces you to be out of the cameras, therefore making time move faster, while requiring you to complete your objective before 6 a.m., is a clever way of making what's usually a saving grace work against you. Okay, enough of this. That sizzling ambiance is not helping me resist the urge to DoorDash Wendy's. I did not address the fact that before you can combat crabs, you gotta face off with a different enemy. That being this purple guy from the first version of the game. And oh my god, this guy. He, by himself, is not that much to write home about, but how you defend against him, that is. T-Dim will disguise himself very badly on the cameras, but if you flick them down while looking at him, he'll instantly appear in your office, where you must then put butter on yourself. Butter obscures your vision, but you have an infinite amount of it. You apply butter with control, which is close to shift, which is your cameras. So I saved this challenge for last because of the absolute comedy potential of butter as a mechanic. Because of the fact that making a macro to apply butter as fast as possible apparently causes the game to crash. And because of what it did to poor Ruffles, who was once again in charge of gathering footage for me, who instead of opening the cameras kept applying butter to himself for no reason.
Fuck. I can't tell. I kept accidentally squirting butter.
You were doing it on purpose.
I wasn't doing it on purpose. I just kept buttering up my fucking sleeve. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I think you should check the quotes channel.
Okay.
Being completely honest, that recording has gotten me through the grind that has been January. Oh yeah, by the way, he got the golden red panda from the intro showing up on night 1 somehow, and I don't think we would have ever known that was in the game if he didn't, so yeah. But to conclude How to Crab, this is an amazing fan game that deserves so much more support. It plays so well, the art is simple and cute, the gameplay loop is almost perfect, and it's even got good humor. It is unacceptable to see it fly under the radar for this long, so I'd better see y'all crabbing it up soon, okay? Well, you know, it's kind of funny that I was planning to make a quick single fan game video to cover my sponsor, but then my backup plan ended up being a longer video with 3 whole games I was too busy to even complete myself. What is that planning? To wrap things up, time for the dusky news, I guess. At this point, I should just call all my concluding segments that. I like that. Let's get a graphic in here. It's 2026, and that means I'm trying to finally get my life back together after almost dying. About a year ago today, actually. If you attended, I hope you enjoyed the quote-unquote celebration of that yesterday. Anyway, that means finding some employment and all that, because I know being dependent on YouTube for income is a disaster waiting to happen. And that means I am likely going to be taking a bit of a different approach to my channel for a while. I'm thinking videos might become more infrequent, but will be longer and possibly even a little crazier like the Roblox one. Hopefully that'll give me more time to catch up on behind-the-scenes stuff, but I still plan to stream on my second channel a little more often than I currently do. Because my sister moved out and now I'm lonely, so you guys have to be my second sister, okay? I'm kidding, that's a weird thing to ask. That being said, wish me luck this year, I'm gonna need it. And you know who it's been. This has been Glamrock Dusky, and remember, have a phasorific day!